So the behavioral health IOP is for patients who are struggling with their level of functioning in their day-to-day. Maybe somebody's trying to avoid hospitalization, or they have just been able to be released from the hospital. This is also for people who've been struggling with long-term chronic mental health illness and are really looking to gain some very practical skills to improve their functioning of life, their quality of life, and to just overall decrease their distress in their daily life. One of the major benefits of the BHIOP is that it gives you some really practical skills. So we're not going to do a whole lot of the emotion processing in group. We're not going to be talking about a whole lot of story sharing outside of the day-to-day. We're really focusing on making sure that you're getting practical skills that you can immediately begin applying to your life.
I think the other real big benefit is that people get out of the house. A lot of the people that we're seeing are really struggling, like Leslie had said, with functioning, and so part of that comes with daily routines and getting into a schedule. And so having a group that starts in the morning and it takes up about 3 hours of your day is a good way to jumpstart that routine again. So
BHIOP is a DBT and CBT oriented group. So that means that we're primarily using content and framework from the DBT, dialectical behavior therapy, and CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy framework.
we try to make BHIOP fun, and we try to incorporate lots of interesting things for the group members to keep them engaged. And it's far more, I think, interactive in a lot of ways. Not only are you interacting with other people, but you're interacting with the content and you're sharing how you're using the content with other people. And it's more of an educational focused group. So in individual therapy, there's a lot of talking, a lot of processing like we talked at the beginning, and this is more about learning things and getting the skills.
And having a chance to practice them.
Yeah. Absolutely, because I think just being in the group sometimes is difficult and people are going to be having to use the skills just to sometimes be there and participate.
BHIOP is 36 sessions. It's 3 days per week for 3 hours. So it's Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays from 9 to noon. And to graduate, you complete all 36 sessions. This is covered by most major insurances as well as Centennial Medicaid. And then there are also self-pay options.
Usually you can be referred from either an outside agency or someplace within SAGE. Typically what we do is an assessment with either myself, one of the facilitators, or the other facilitators, or people that we've actually trained to do the assessment for the behavioral health IOP. And part of that will be assessing whether or not you meet the criteria that's needed for the group, as well as also just informing you about what the group is going to look like, how it runs, and so that way you're prepared to actually begin the group.
You can also be a self-referral too.
Yeah.
So it's something you see on our website and you're interested in, you can just contact us for an assessment. So we actually have already had the chance to launch our BHIOP online. We've created essentially it's like a meeting room where everybody gets together on this cute little Brady Bunch screen, and we're following the content as usual. And the really great thing is we have amazing group facilitators who are really engaging and dynamic and really help everybody stay engaged. And so we've had a really positive response. The group is fully online right now for the safety of our providers and all of our participants as well. And then we will continue this service online, and as soon as we're able to bring some services back in-house, this is one of those ones that we will definitely be doing. The major challenge I think most people face is just orienting to the group. For the most part, I would say the first 2 weeks are people's least favorite, and then by the end, they don't want to leave. So the first 2 weeks of just getting used to the group, getting to know some of the other group members, that's been my experience.
Yeah, I think just being in a setting with a bunch of other people, and I think when you've had another group experience, a lot of times people have experience with either a support group or a process group, and so that transition can be a little bit jarring. But typically, like Leslie was saying, 2 weeks in, people start to really enjoy the group. I think because you're with people so often, you're there with them for 9 hours a week at least, we really do start to see them bond. They really do start to enjoy seeing each other and enjoy coming to group together, and they really bond with the facilitators because they get to know them very well. So I think the initial thing is kind of just the shock of being in a group, and then it's like, 3 hours a day? Like, those are the things that I think are the initial freak out, but I think people usually really enjoy it after that.
Yeah, I have really enjoyed how different everybody is and how everybody is still able to find a connection. There are so many different things that bring a person to the BHIOP, and there are different age groups, walks of life, diagnoses, struggles, therapy goals, and everybody really finds their way in being part of the group. And what's really great to see is when people really start to get in touch with their core self again and are in an environment that really lets that shine with a bunch of other group members who are really accepting and happy to be of support to them. So that's been really exciting.
So I think my favorite part of being a group facilitator is that I get to be playful and to interact with all the group members. So I like to joke, I like to be energetic, I really like to make the content both fun and applicable, and I like to see how group members come out of their shell at some point. By about the 2-week mark, they start to joke and play back and interact with the other members. And the other thing that's really important to me is to be able to share how I use the content myself, like how I'm able to apply it, because I'm using most of those skills too, and being able to help people see that I'm not that different and other people in the group aren't that different is definitely one of the things that's most rewarding about being a facilitator in the BHIOP.
If you're interested in the BHIOP and you're feeling hesitant, give us a call and talk with us. Myself or Andres, we're really happy to talk about any hesitations you may have about the group, whether it's an in-person group someday or it's online right now. We're really eager and happy to help answer some of the questions or concerns you may have about entering the group. And for most of those things, we're going to be able to help you work through them and come up with a plan to make it work for you.